Okay, good afternoon. We're going in just a second. Forgive me if it's not a smooth podcast like normally because we're looking at updates and we're getting text messages from sources all over the town. But this is an odd story. Of all the stories that we've covered, usually there's a lot more information. This is like an extended waiting game, and so everybody we're talking to is just in a holding pattern. And so it's pretty amazing to see. But to those that are not familiar with what's going on today, obviously we have far more people than we normally do on this podcast. As a podcast, we go live Monday through Thursday at 4 o'clock. Typically, we're talking about politics and news. Today, we'll talk about this situation. I was in the center of town around noon. I was having lunch at G Cafe, and like every cop in the world went by. So I started making phone calls, and then suddenly my phone blew up with what was going on over by Richlands, and it's the second floor of a salon over there, and there was an active shooter. And seeing some of the videos, this was a shooter that just was going crazy. And it's just, so many of the people I've talked to today said, how is this happening in Brantford? And it's happening in Brantford because it can happen anywhere. And I don't know, we can't surmise what the cause of this is. If he was out to cause harm to one particular person, you would imagine there would have been a different approach. All these things boil down to hopefully it's, not mental illness. Hopefully we get out of this before anyone gets seriously hurt. We do know that one person was shot. They were not fatally shot. It was a wound that was called, I guess, through and through, where it was not serious. They went to the hospital. We don't have, that's all the details we have. We got a ton of emails asking if police were shot, or I've seen no evidence of that. And everyone I've talked to said no. And so we'll wait to hear from likely the state police on more details, but we're still in this position of holding up, and we don't have a lot of answers. And I'd love to be able to give you some, but there's not much to talk about. So soon after 12, I drove to the scene. It was already pretty much shut down, police sending you in a different direction. And I kind of had to make a decision, do I stay on this or not? And I turned around to leave, and I think 20 people messaged me saying, Steve, don't go to the scene. We'll get our news elsewhere. I just worked the phones and talked to people on multiple different departments and town leadership and find out the information that we can. Some information we're asked not to repeat. We'll do that. We were asked not to be live. We weren't on scene, so we couldn't do anything live anyway. There was a video that was shared on social media, which we shared as well, which was, I think, a good video to share because it kind of gave a sense of what was going on in the area. But, we have been just thinking back to some of the events that we've been live for. The worst day we've ever covered news was the day the young boy drowned. And we were live for that, and that was tough. This is just a different situation. We don't know. We're just waiting. So I am waiting for information to come in on my phone. I have multiple people that will, let me know if there's something going on. I'm watching other news sources as well. I'm sure you are. If something happens while we're talking, let me know. We'd love to be able to give you some more information. There's just not a lot of information to give you. And we'll go from there. So I do know in talking to, look at this now, Starbucks is in lockdown. Like most of these places still have people inside of them. Right now, there are people inside. This is live, and inside Richlands, inside. As far as Starbucks, people are sitting inside and hiding in the back rooms, primarily because this guy was shooting all over the place. There didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to what he was doing. And, there's all kinds of reasons why people do this. It could be mental illness. It could be suicide by cop. It could be all kinds of things. The cops can't just run in because they don't know what he has. Yes, my Christmas tree is still up. It's not a Christmas tree. It just changes to whatever the most recent holiday is, that tree. So it was a Christmas tree, and then it was a Valentine's Day tree. I think it was a President's Day tree at some point. It was just an Easter tree. And I'll leave that up because I don't feel like taking it down. So there are way more people on this podcast that normally come on this podcast. We don't have a lot of information to give you. We don't have any information other people don't have. We are not on scene. I went to the scene briefly and turned around and left. The last thing the police and fire departments and the emergency services need is is me to be there. And they asked that we not do anything live. We haven't done anything live. We're not going to do that. No, Starbucks is shut down. I'm just responding to somebody's comments. Starbucks shut down just out of whatever radius they decide. It just shuts down. So there are Starbucks employees, and I know this because I just spoke to one that are still inside Starbucks. Justin, I know it's just a trick. It's fine. So I would love to be able to come on and tell you amazing things, or it's over and it's done, and all this. We just don't have it. So if just a place to come and talk about it, or it's just amazing that. It's funny. I got a joke from somebody who lives in Madison that says, "Oh well, Branford has all these issues." Every town has their issues. No, there is no town that's immune to mental illness or people that are upset or angry. And I don't know what kind of guns this person had. We'll find that out afterwards. It will likely be part of that entire gun debate, but we don't know. But at the end of the day, there are issues. Every town has issues. And there are people that reach the end of their rope and take drastic measures. As of right now, he was not. Somebody saying your friend's still in the laundromat. We heard that too. They were forced to go to the back of the laundromat. We heard that from an officer. It was amazing, the response. I mean, cops from every town, state officers and SWAT teams came in. It was spectacular. I have to tell you this. It's amazing that there aren't more people dead with the way this person was shooting. I mean, you heard it. If you were in the area, there are videos. If you're in the area, Madison we'll talk about in a second. But I don't know how there weren't. And I know talking to some people who work as EMTs, we only have the one. So the one person who was shot. So that's a good thing to see. I feel off because I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about some of the other topics I would normally talk about on this podcast. It seems inappropriate. We also don't have a lot of information to give you on this. So Marissa, until this is resolved, is it irresponsible to speculate and spread videos, pictures? No, I think people need to know what happens. People want to know what's going on in their area. It's irresponsible to do something that puts the police investigation at risk. That's irresponsible. We're not live. They asked us not to be live. We're not live on scene. It is not irresponsible to let people know what's happening. In fact, officials generally take steps to make sure we know what's happening to let that word out. What happens when you don't let people know what's happening is you have mass confusion and worse things can happen. So good leadership from our police and fire and town leadership or what have you is letting people know what's going on. They don't do things to put more people at risk, but letting them know what's going on actually saves lives. It keeps people away. Any reason the town didn't send alert to residents? I don't know. I don't know if that would have been something they would use the alert system for. I'm just trying to get to a sense of some of the comments are coming in so quick. Branford Police, we did not post any live streams. We were not live on scene. So, that makes sense, but we didn't post any. To be live streams, we have to be live at the scene. We're not live. Did some people get an alert? I wasn't aware of that. So a notice did go out to residents. So some didn't get it. I don't know why, Maria, you didn't get one. Marissa, people need to know there is a threat to stay safe. Not being live doesn't mean social media posts like video pictures don't affect the situation. We can let people know what's going on. All right, well, you're welcome to start a news site. No, you can do that. No, we have a free country. You're welcome to do that. If we find a video on social media which helps tell a story taken by someone and share it to our stream, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Dave, okay, all right, sorry. Stephanie, you're in the neighborhood. Okay. Power was shut off. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay. Is it still going on? It is still going on as far as I know right now. Listen, you were a news producer for 2 years. On the scene right now are a bunch of people from other news stations. So we're not. So I did hear the person's name was Matt or Matthew. Yes, that's true. That's what I heard. Okay, so who needs help getting home? Exit 54, take a left at the bottom of the hill. Yeah, there's a million ways to get around this. So yeah, in the comments, white male, name or matter, Matthew. I've heard the exact same thing from good sources. The individual can't be watching me now. That's true. If the individual is watching you now, please put your guns down and come out. Whatever the issue is, we can handle it, but please put your guns down and come out. No, what we don't want to do is give up, what's going on live at the scene. So with the officer on there to scene, all officers, okay, yeah, we heard the same thing. We got a bunch of calls right about 45 minutes ago that said, our cop shot, and we had none of that. I think the point of not sharing was that the shooter didn't know when the cops were hiding. So I'll tell you a story. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was in Short Beach, and the cops were I got a tip to go there, and the cops were doing a raid on a house that was selling drugs. And the officer walked over to me, and I was live. And the officer walked over. He said, can I talk to you for a second? And I said, sure. I turned it off. And he goes, listen, we don't mind. We'll give you an interview afterwards. We'll give you all the information. But if you're live, the potential exists that he knows when we're coming in. And that was their concern. They didn't want the person to know, because you take away the element of surprise. So being live at the time can give that away. Now, I have no idea if this person's watching us or not. We obviously respected that. Didn't say a word, stood off to the side. It happened, and talked to him afterwards. So, yeah. As far as we know, the guy did not come out yet. Listen, you could be critical of our coverage. That's your business. I'm not gonna knock that. But when we have a lot of confusion as to what's happening in an area, we have a video that gives some clarity to that issue, especially for people who live locally and want to know what's going on. I have no problem sharing that. The police asked us not to be live. We are not live on the scene. We're not giving away any police positions. We don't know if they're storming the house or going in. We have no idea. There is no way from anything we're saying now for the shooter to know that. We may be choppy. We shouldn't be, considering we have a bunch of new internet lines, but I'm not so sure. Thanks, Linda. Listen, this is all we can do in this case. Normally, if you're new to this podcast, 99% of these podcasts are political analysis. We're talking about public new events, politics, laws. Listen, if you're going to complain about the coverage, go somewhere else. For Christ's sake, really. Go somewhere else. Jesus Christ. Some people just have a stick up their ass. Grow up. I'm not for, what happens if I'm watching something I don't want to watch? I don't watch it. Change the channel. I don't know what roads are open yet. Yeah, for Christ's sake, people just want to start crap. Grow the hell up. Jesus Christ. You can't win. I go down there. I talk to everybody. I call everybody I can. I give you the information we can. Oh, we don't like this. We don't like this. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. It's just nuts. Yes, get them. Listen, I'm not after anybody, but Jesus, enough. And I'll take all the criticism about an opinion or a political stance or a law or all of that stuff. I have no problem with that. But for Christ's sake, we posted a video that was a half hour, 45 minutes old, already on social media. Give me a break. It's just crazy. I received... Okay, look, they're idiots. Don't drag. I'm not down that level. Listen, to those who've never watched this, there's times I go off. If you remember the police, defund the police thing, that was a little crazy too. But we're going to give you the information we can. And you would probably hear my phone if a lot of information was coming in. Not a lot of information is coming in. It's just not. It's just hilarious. Oh my God, I was a producer for 2 years. Well, the reason you're not, still be a producer. Jesus. And this is a new world. I was a news producer for 8 years in 1984. Well, you know what? No one gives a shit about 1984. We live in a different world. To pretend we shouldn't share a video that's already on social media and already being shared. And actually it gives a very good indication of what the scene is. We want to know stuff in real time. Do we have to swear like that on the live feed? You are definitely new to this. You're definitely new to this podcast. Kristen Russo, thank you for your information. Can you clarify whether there was walking through town shooting prior to barricading? I did not hear that. I didn't hear anything about that. We have certainly respected what the police wanted. So these are great. Listen, I don't not someone who gets offended by swearing. So um, uh, no, this is basically nothing. Yeah, we're not really getting any updates. We got a bunch earlier. A lot of calls came in, people letting us know. A lot of video. Actually, it's funny. A lot of videos I did not share. Um, but we shared one that was significantly older on social media. Um, we have no reports of any casualties. We've in speaking to some people that would know, they were saying one person was shot. It was a minor injury. Shot is never a minor injury, I guess, but it was not life threatening. They were transported to the hospital. There were some, things about police or something killed. None of that's true, as far as we know, unless it's not. So yeah, just the minor injuries. So yeah, again, nobody. I'd love to be talking politics right now. There's a million things to talk about, but there's it feels. Was a girlfriend in the laundromat across the street? Someone me commented about this in your other post. I don't know the answer to that. We're calling the Jasmine No Main Street near Richlands. Yeah, it's like a house with a salon on the first floor, next to the is Lucy Taylor's in harm's way. That's probably blocked off. I think they blocked off from Kirkham Street down, so the Taylor would be in that general area. Love your personality, just be you. Listen, the whole point of starting Brandford 7 when I started it 11, 12 years ago was just to be blunt. I'll tell you the story. I was talking to a journalist for the New Haven Register, and he said that he was telling, he would write news, but afterwards, in talking with other journalists or people he knew, they would say to him, tell me the real story. And I said to myself, what if we just had a site that told the real story and got their facts right and just talked and had an honest conversation? And sometimes that's the best way to have conversations. Doesn't always have to have a spin. And at the same time, you should know the political leanings or the thoughts of the person delivering that news. And we have an honest conversation about it. The reason I do this live every day is so that people can contest what I say. People can ask questions and have a discussion on politics or what have you. I don't believe any of the roads have been opened. Listen, we heard from someone from Starbucks that Starbucks was still there. The employees were still there in a lockdown. So it is a wide radius that they have locked down. Salon usually closed on Tuesdays. We heard that as well from one of the people we had talked to. Yeah, I don't see anything of. I'll send out a few text messages to see if there's anything new, but I'm not really seeing it. Marissa, just trying to engage in conversation and ensure safe. I'm not trying to say no because I was produced. Trying a new show and it was pointing out I've done it. The reason I got out of news production is the pushing of unconfirmed. I guess it's just topic that frustrates me. So here's, we could have this actual conversation. Jalapeno Heavens are at work. Part of what we do as a community site is it's a place to come and talk. And it's a place to come and when during storms, when you were having fear or there's issues, we've had other times in Brandford where there were people who were shot. They want to have questions, what have you. There's a place that you can come and have a conversation. We won't actively spread false information. We're not doing QAnon kind of, conspiracy theory stuff. We're having a real conversation. And by the way, I'm somebody who's in town, who knows 99% of the players in town. And if this helps to have a place to go and talk about it, great. We want you to. It's probably safer than not letting it happen. Aisha, see if I know. Welcome to Brandford. I'm glad you chose Brandford after been here a year. I hope it's a great town. Brandford Fire was blocked down. The police what I'm hearing is they're still trying to make contact. So that's from a pretty good source. So yeah, it's still going on. And that's not about, listen, I'm only live here to have the conversation, have a place for people to go. I go live Monday through Thursday at 4:00. And if it helps you get through the day, great. If it helps you think differently about a law or something happening nationally, we're going to talk about that. And we're not going to be afraid to shy away from difficult discussions that we have in the past. That's all there is to it. Branford Pizza is delivering still. So Branford, that's actually interesting, Kim. Branford Pizza is directly across the street from the firehouse. So it might be the firehouse just shut off at that point. Remember, the firehouse connects right up to the Richland property. It also connects in the back right up to the property. There's no place to subscribe. Our website is Branford7.com. That's our news website. On Facebook, you can click follow, and you'll get updates when we go live every day, Monday through Thursday. Just ordered one large cheese with extra sauce. Well, that could end up being a floppy pizza. So what are the, Branford Pizza? I mean, I think I ate there once. What time did this all start? It looks like it started just after 12 o'clock. About 12:10 or 12:05 or something along those lines. Soon after, I'm just looking back to when my first text started coming in. So as a matter of practice, I usually get 75 texts all at once. Steve, what's going on? I happened to be eating lunch in the center of town when this was happening. We have video coming in at 12:46. We have messages coming in 12:07. So you're looking at 12, in that ballpark. Cops were there very, very quickly. They were flying by me at about 12:11, 12. I'm just looking at what text I sent out about that time. So it's, and we just got a community message from Town Hall. All right, so I'm going to read this. This is directly from Town Hall. Branford Police are dealing with a barricaded person with shots fired in the area of Main Street near Cherry Hill Road. Please avoid the following areas: Main Street from the intersection at West Main Street to Kirkham Street, Route 1 from Short Beach Road to Cherry Hill Road, all the way to Short Beach Road. Short Beach to, okay. West End Avenue to Bridge Street, North Harbor Street from Elm Street to Bradley. The Branford Fire Department has transported one civilian to Yale New Haven Hospital with what is believed to be a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. No other injuries are known at this time. Additional information will be known. Okay, so they basically told you what we told you already. The fire department transported one civilian, so not a police officer, not a firefighter, to Yale New Haven Hospital with what believed to be a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. No other injuries are known at that time. That's what we reported that a couple hours ago. No other injuries is important because there are rumors going around, and they're not true as far as we know, that police or others were shot. I heard somebody called up and said, I heard 5 people were. It's just crazy. That's not true. We just got literally at 4:23 an email from Town Hall saying that's not the case. So, and then the areas to avoid. I will post this on our social media page in a few minutes, but it's basically the whole area. I mean, Route 1 from Short Beach Road, so the other side of the bridge, so yes, Starbucks, to Cherry Hill Road, all the way, yeah. So quite a bit. So if you ordered your pizza from Branford Pizza, it is just over the line of what's available and what's opened. North Harbor Street from Elm Street to Bradley. Yeah, and what my other source here is saying is that they are still trying to make contact. I got to give, for all the talk about police and being aggressive, this approach is admirable, to be this measured. So Janet Martin, there was an incident like this a few years ago. Yes, there was an incident over by that secondary green next to the library in front of where Tyco is now. In that little area, there was a house back there. And yes, we had a very similar situation. Did not end well, but it was unfortunate. Yeah, this is not Lindsay. You're not getting out. Lindsay, just stay there. You're not going anywhere. Claire, I'm sorry, I didn't see what Claire said. That was he was shooting at people walking past, not including police. We have not heard. What we've heard is there haven't been shots fired in quite some time. But the person who was shot was a civilian. And we heard that. We just got that press release from the Brantford Town Hall. So the person who was shot clearly states civilian, therefore not a police officer, not a firefighter who would not be considered. They'd be first responders. Channel 3 has it on now. I'll look at that now. I doubt there's much they can tell us, but might as well find out.
A 16-year-old who tells us the shots were coming from the second floor of a home, which has a hair salon on the bottom floor.
Okay, so we know that.
His bicycle on Main Street when this all unfolded. Now, police have also told us the area is not safe, so they are urging you to avoid the area. We also want to mention Interstate 95 and exit 53 is closed. That is the Short Beach exit. So you'll have to take the next exit up. Again, a very active scene as this all is unfolding. Staging area is right behind me. Multiple police agencies are here assisting with this investigation. Of course, any new information we get, we will bring to you.
Okay, so none of the channels have anything, or WFSB certainly doesn't have anything we don't know already. I don't think they said that somebody was hit. And they're going to the vaccine. So, yeah, so where we stand is nothing. We know this was a second floor of a house. We know he was taking shots, a lot of shots. We do not know what the targets were. I don't know if they're police, Budapest. I have no idea. And we can't even pretend to know that. We do know that a civilian was shot. Does not appear to be life-threatening. The police brought him. And I actually heard that. I don't know what time of day we posted that. So this was early on. I'm just trying to go back and find out my own posts on Brantford7.com. So 3 hours ago, we posted that one person was hit with minor injuries. So that was early on that happened. Nick, how did they not barricade the building he was shooting out of? How did he get away? I don't think he got away. The package store owner is in surgery for the gunshot wound to the leg. Okay, we knew it was a package store owner. We did not report that, but it's now out there. We wish him a speedy recovery. We hope he's okay. We don't want to, I don't like naming the people. Glad for this guy because I don't have cable. Oh, well, I'm glad we can help. The Shelley's people posted videos and they were extremely helpful. They were very, very good. Shelley's Garden people are really good anyway. Hold on one second. Yeah, we're just getting more questions. Yeah, listen, I'm glad I can help, guys. Typically when it comes to politics, we're much better, but live news, we've been here for usually in the storms, we kind of change the way we do business and the way we talk about stuff. And when there's, serious issues going on, tragedies, that sort of thing. I do remember that Christmas Eve a few nights back. It was certainly a tragedy. Jennifer, if you barricaded inside with or without a hostage, has this been confirmed? So very likely there's two reasons you don't go in, right? So either there's a hostage involved or there's potential, more dangerous weapons like explosives. So we don't have anything that tells us opposite of that. Where would we go from here? It'd be interesting to talk, and we will certainly talk as soon as this is done with some police officers and find out what the story is. Please post your info for donations to Brantford 7. Or donations to Brantford 7, just go to Brantford7.com. It pops up. Would you like to donate? Go Brantford7.com's regular website, and you can donate there. And I appreciate that. That's thank you for that, Renee. I know you're a supporter and a friend. And if we have some new people that are watching and you want to join us the rest of the time, please do. Every day, Monday through Thursday at 4 o'clock. We didn't get. Yeah, I think some people got it. Some people may not have. I don't know why. Listen, that's what we don't know. Steve is a proud gun owner and pro 2A that doesn't support either political party. I'd love to have a conversation with you about this and other current things going on. Okay. Fox 61 reported negotiators are trying to get him out. They've been trying to get him out for a while now. That those discussions have been going on. Checking if I can review what we know. All we know, nothing has significantly changed. What we do know for sure is one person was shot. It was a civilian, so not a firefighter, not a police officer. The name of the shooter, as reported on multiple news outlets, was Matt or Matthew. Tiffany just posted. Tiffany, thank you for this. I'll read it directly. Active scene, South Central SWAT team continues to work toward a peaceful resolution. Please avoid the area. I do not know how to change what I just did. Oh. Refrain from streaming video or sharing pictures of ongoing scene. We will provide updates when new information. 1203. Shots fired in the area of Main Street. Responding officers encountered heavy gunfire coming from the upper floors of a business apartment building. Additional 911 calls reported a gunshot victim nearby. Person was transported to the hospital. Officers continue to face heavy gunfire, were pinned down until armored Bearcat vehicles arrived. South Central SWAT continues to operate. The scene is still active and not safe. Holy God. Officers were pinned down. They really couldn't. And if you heard it, the videos kind of showed that. I have no idea if there are hostages. We have no idea if there's explosives. That's what we don't know. That's usually why there's a reason not to storm the house, is because you don't know who else is inside. Thank you for sharing that, Tracy. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's I don't want to get too political here, but the next time I hear somebody say defund the police, I'm going to kind of punch them. Give me a break. These guys, just those words, as they're taking bullets, they were pinned down and they stayed there and they move. Come on. These guys, for all, yes, bad things happen sometimes. Accidents happen. There are bad actors, but Jesus Christ, how many, just out of curiosity, let's suppose the officers didn't show up for an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes. Let's just suppose that. How many people could have died? Really. And I will tell you this. I drove to the scene and realized what was going on and got in my car and went the other way. Just these guys go in when we're going out. Oh my God, Steve, you and I really need to talk about defunding the police, because it wasn't for these guys, we cut it. Yeah, defunding the police is kind of nonsense. It's just always was. So to those that are new to this podcast, when I am absolutely a supporter of Black Lives Matter. I have no problem with people protesting. I have no problem with people marching. I have no issues, and I completely believe there is an issue with systemic racism. It's not the issue. It's not the end-all, be-all, but there's an issue. It exists. But so the next day after a rally in Brantford was scheduled for Black Lives Matter, they also sent a letter to the town asking that the town defund or cut funding from the Brantford Police Department and send it to social services. And that's when I kind of lost it. It's just goddamn crazy. And, I made the point at that point that I support funding the police because I support Black lives. All right, Catherine, I don't know what that source is. Can you tell us what that source is? it makes sense that that's true, based on what we've seen so far. But we need a source on that. Oh, Sabrina, a bomb scene is on squad. That's fuck me. Shit. That makes sense. That's why they're trying to talk him out. There's only one of two reasons to try to talk somebody out. There's a hostage or there's a bomb. So it had to be one of those two, or else this would have been over a long time ago. So both WTNH and what's the woman's name? Sabrina Curie. I mean, she might be WTNH. Thank you for Justin for posting that. That is kind of a holy shit thing. Okay, thank you for sharing, Catherine. As long as we have the source, we're fine. And then Justin also posted it from WTNH. God help us, guys. Be safe. Jesus Christ. Wow. I am not on scene. I'm just going to... And WTNH has Judge Judy on, so at least there's that, right? I mean, what the hell? 1061, let's see. Fox 61 has a commercial. Wow. All right, we'll just stay live, and if you want a place to talk or hang out and have a conversation, we can do that. Again, we have no idea if he's the only one in the building. This is just, yeah, I don't know. You find out. Listen, now I'm not there, right? I'm not on scene. Maybe I should be, but I'm not going to go on scene. I happen to know all the cops. I happen to know all the firefighters, and me being on scene is not helpful. It just get me off the scene. So they want to go on the scene. That's their job, and record and all that stuff. That's fine. There's no reason for me to do that. But fuck. But how is this a live thing? The bomb squad is called, and the news sites that are there on scene have Judge Judy on. I have Judge Judy on. Jesus Christ. And then with a bomb, you just don't know what kind of... Holy shit. You get worried. This is in a civilian area, but it's close to the fire. I mean, how... I mean, this isn't some guy who just got mad. This is a guy who planned something. This is crazy. Shit. I want to look up this woman's on scene. Okay. So the bomb squad seems to be just precautionary. There may not be evidence that there's a need for it, but it just can be precautionary. So let's just hold off. Just having the bomb squad there doesn't mean there's actually a bomb. All right, that's very good to see. And trust me, these are very good sources. So Yeah, I think, yeah, it may not be. Yes, the name Matthew has been reported by multiple news outlets and some witnesses. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine he's watching, but if he is, let's talk, man. I mean, it's whatever help he needs, we want to get it for him, but let's do it before more people are hurt. We already have one person apparently in surgery. It just gets so real. It gets so crazy when you have this thought of a bomb or thought of like neighborhoods being destroyed. It's just um it gets crazy. It gets absolutely insane. To those who have not been paying attention, we had an issue today just after 12 o'clock. A person on the second floor of a house was shooting. Somebody was hit, not killed. It seemed to be they were injured and transported to the hospital with a non-life threatening injury. That's the only indication we have so far of any injuries. No police, no nothing else. We have no any rumors to that effect are false. So this has been going on from just after 12 o'clock. Police are there um, from all different neighboring towns. The state police are there. Squad teams are there. Now the bomb squads are being called in. We have no indication that there is a bomb. It's just precautionary. So let's not go crazy. Um, you sent me a private message on Brantford 7. Hold on. Yes, the second person just told us it was precautionary. So, all right, thank you, JJ. I'm not going to say that publicly, but the okay, just to respond, Abby, more gunshots. Shit. I mean, I have reports from good sources, people who were there, of gunshots. And I am not on the scene, so I don't want anybody believing I'm on the scene. There's nothing to say here. There is a sense, right? I'll be honest with you. Right now, there's a sense of this is happening in Brantford. This this is just a sense of holy God. This is happening in Brantford. You heard them too, Shane. Okay. Tony, folks in Leon James Salon are all okay. Were there people in the salon? It's on the impression they were closed today. Out of curiosity, if you're a parent, how are you handling this for your kids? What do you say to your kids during this? So, John, you were locked down in Richland for a few hours. We were evacuated to the firehouse. Well, John, I'm glad you're safe. No one in Solana was closed. Okay, yeah, I heard the salon was closed, so that's good to hear. There's just a sense of, so many of these things you watch from a distance, like they're in other towns, they're in other areas, and then you realize that this is a place that you are drive by 17 times a day. This is the place that you walk by all the time. This is the place that you go to either a dance studio or Richlands to get a new car battery. It's right there. This is real. And I am assuming, maybe I shouldn't, and there are people who will criticize me for assuming, but I'm assuming we're dealing with mental illness here. And you kind of want to tell the guy, listen, come out. No one has died as of yet. Come out before that happens, and we can deal with this. Well, for some reason, I can't click on that. Says Matthew, okay. Your son is 7. You haven't said anything? It is just so odd that I'm on camera and not talking politics. I'm not talking news or analysis or budget or an election. Yeah, my kids are older, 11, Kristen. Yeah, actually, that point. Okay, then we will. Jenna, these events rob you of your sense of security and peace of mind. It's a traumatic event for our town. I'm curious if the town will offer resources to those impacted by today's events. I'm sure the town will. Brantford offers far more mental health help with our counseling center than most towns. We do things. There are people from other towns that come here just for that reason. My grandsons were on their bikes in the center of town when all this started and heard the gunshots. Oh, man, Janice, I'm sorry. My daughter told them to stay at a certain location. She picked them up. This is traumatizing. No question. No question. I haven't even done that. We'll do a hashtag on Twitter. Yeah, I could see Sabrina Curiacos. I don't know who she is, but I'll follow her. We'll do hashtag Brantford. There's really no news we don't have. We just served from news reports that just said all the stuff we already have. We have the press release from Town Hall. We have press releases from the police department. Yeah, there's I don't know who Overt Operator is, but I don't know if I trust the way they worded that. We knew a couple hours ago there was somebody was shot. We reported that. That's just knowing the people. Listen, assuming anything is a game, we never know. We don't know for sure what's going on, but all right, thank you for this. So it looks like some people, so they evacuated Richlands, which is good, to the firehouse. Maybe some other places are being let go as well. I literally have like 9 messages that popped up at once, but none are from good sources yet. So So you just want to tell the guy, listen, look, it's a different story if people have been killed, but so far no one's been killed. We do have one injury, one person who went to the hospital with a gunshot wound. But there's still time to come out. There's still time to make the right decision. You hope that the FBI has, I'm sure they do, people who handle this sort of thing to try to get him out and try to talk. Anyway, let's not make it political. There's no allegiances to parties here. I'm so not used to not talking. I'm trying to not. Usually, I want to fill it in with, "Hey, what's your favorite pizza place?" or something, but it's not really appropriate. And so it was just a sitting and waiting game. And it seems like people want to hang out. Hey, hang out. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. If this is a place for you to spend some time, let's do it. Prayers for all you in Brantford from former residents. We're in South Carolina. I hope you're enjoying it down there, Clayton. And those who don't know, I know there was some discussions about that whole defund the police thing, and there were discussions about, putting, mental health professionals with cops or what have you. Brantford actually has formed kind of an alliance between the police department and the counseling center, and kind of combined those two things. And they're kind of ahead of the game when that happens. I'm quite sure, in some way, shape, or form, there are mental health professionals involved here. I'm sure the FBI is on scene. We know the bomb squad was called in. We do not know there's a bomb threat. Just because the bomb squad was called in does not mean there was a threat. So we cannot make that leap. It could be for extra support. Eileen, how are you? Yeah, just because the bomb squad was called does not mean that there is a threat of an explosion. Yes, they're dressing him as Matt. Yeah, thank you very much for sending that in. I'm just seeing some of these. Will. Use your cell phone, call 911. You should make contact with us. This is the police. All right. Thank you for saying. I'm not going to share this video. It's not really much happening, but it does show the audio of the police saying, "Please come out, call 911." So thank you for sending it in. I'm not going to share that out of the request of the police department at this point, but. Yeah, Dave, I think that's correct. I think they're doing what they can to make sure they're covered no matter what. Channel 8 teaser, they're live on scene. Will be in top story. Obviously, as soon as Judge Judy ends, I got to tell you, it was a little messed up. So I live on Woodlawn Avenue, so I'm over by Foot Park if you're in Brantford. And it's a quarter mile away where this is happening. And it's just odd that these places that are local news are nowhere near local news. I'll put the volume on Fox 61 here. I don't really care about Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Police have confirmed is expected to be okay. That's one person, one victim that we know of so far. The situation going on for 5 hours in county. We can tell you, doesn't look like police think this is going to end anytime soon, because we just saw dinner pizzas being delivered to the authorities on the scene here. I'm going to step out of the way.
Okay, I don't know if I buy that.
Earlier, we were not showing you our location here at Bridge and Bradley because this was an early operation. Police units were using their tactical operations on the scene, crashing down beside houses with their long guns out. Now, as you can see, it has evolved. Police hunkering down. They have put up police tape. We're hearing from sources that the gunman had begun threatening to blow up the building that he was in, and that bomb squad is now on the scene. This all started again around noon this afternoon. Eyewitnesses tell News 8 that they heard multiple rounds of rapid gunfire coming from a second-floor building on Main and North Harbor Streets at a hair salon. That's where we believe the gunman has been barricaded. We're told that the gunman actually fired at police as they attempted to approach the building and towards a shopping plaza across the street. One person again was shot and is expected to survive. We don't know whether that victim was at the shopping plaza at the time. The neighborhood and local businesses continue now to be on lockdown. In fact, in the residential neighborhoods that we are at, people were evacuated from their homes and they have not yet been allowed in. And we know that police are still trying to negotiate.
Okay, so there's nothing on WTNH we don't already know, except for a line that was, I'm not kidding, line that said, "We know this is going to be going on for a while because they ordered pizza. They saw pizzas delivered to the police department." So do I believe the police department ordered pizzas for the police to hunker down at 5 o'clock? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. If there's pizza they got maybe for the person, part of negotiation, whatever it is, so be it. Do I think at 5 o'clock they said, you know what, we're going to be on this for a couple hours. Let's order pizza? Nah, I don't buy that.
Which was pretty unusual for this neighborhood. And they just continued increasing in frequency. And then cops showed up in my neighborhood, blocked off all the streets, and told us to lock our doors, stay inside, everything. We could see more and more cops arriving on the scene, adding tactical gear, pulling out, semi-automatic rifles and everything. It looked like it was a pretty big situation. And about 5 minutes ago,
maybe the gunman is hungry. Yeah, I just, quite frankly, I think it's a bad. Now I can see if they evacuated some places to the fire department, they're ordering pizza. Yes, I would imagine somebody sent it to them. I can't imagine. Yeah, I cannot imagine a situation where the police that are handling this situation said, we need pizza. So I could easily see that somebody sent pizza to them. I could easily see that some of the people who were evacuated to the firehouse, maybe they got pizza, something along those lines. I can't imagine these cops out there saying, you know what, we're sitting behind our cars with a gun and trying to protect the public, but can you get me a pepperoni? It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, they have 19 people here, apparently.
My colleague Sabina is situated, and this whole response effort extends for blocks. Multiple agencies responding to this area to assist state police, along with Branford, Guilford, Madison, East Haven, all on the scene, blocking off roads, even with such a distance between the two scenes that we're bringing you live here on News 8. Witnesses say they were able to hear the gunfire from where I'm standing, and they knew right away to shelter in place. Owner Charles Steinberg of Branford Jewelers says his shop locked down moments after realizing they were right near an active shooter situation.
We heard the popping, we heard some banging, and then just locked everything down. And that was it. That was the end of our day. This usually doesn't happen on the shoreline at all. You never hear of things like this going on. So it's pretty.
Yeah, I'm sure if Honey Spot did that, good on them. Any place that sends food at certain like this would be appreciated, certainly. I just can't see that being a priority for police officers. So in fairness, the television news finds the longest possible way to tell you the same things over and over again. There's nothing earth-shattering that's been added. It started after 12 o'clock. One person was hit. Was taken to the hospital. Non-life-threatening injuries. Person was shooting for hours. Then they're going on to coronavirus. All right, so the question is, how long do we stay on? There's not much more to tell you. Troopers send up a drone. Okay. Yeah, if somebody's in the area, let us know where you are. We get some kind of sense what's going on. We don't know what he wants. Yeah, knowing the officers I know, I cannot see for a second officers ordering pizza. I just don't see that happening. All right. All right. There's some things that you're sending information that may or may not be true. I understand that, but I'm not going to say it publicly. The people who own PM and the workers have been released there, so letting some people go, which is helpful. But thank you for send your tips in or information in. But before I say anything publicly about them, I have to confirm them. All right, thank you, Melissa. Brantford Fire Department does have actually a very good drone. Let's just hope it ends with no casualties. On Brantford7.com, you can just send a message through the Brantford 7 Facebook page. All right, let's. No, I can't confirm that. Yeah, I mean that's the only thing we care about. We've covered things that were awful in town where we lost lives, and yeah, no, I mean, was something like this planned to have the kind of bullets ready to go? Would appear it was. And response to the email, of course, I understand that. Listen, any information you send in is appreciated, no question about it. I just understand I can't always. I've had people send in information and say, "How come you didn't write about it?" And probably because I couldn't confirm it. And if I can't independently confirm it, in this situation, we're just waiting on information to come in. So this is the Steve Mazzacane podcast. We have a Facebook page called the Steve Mazzacane podcast, but most of the people are watching this through Brantford7.com. But Chris Finn Wilgen just posted a fairly interesting emergency pizza kind of thing, so it's pretty funny. Again, it's so odd that I'm on camera not talking politics right now. The price of ammo right now is insane, not readily available. Crazy ammo shortage. Yeah, so why do I have a distressed look on my face? Because I always get a little distressed. It's my town. You know, the cops, I know them. The firefighters, I know them. They're friends of mine. They're people I've had beer or coffee or run into them at the coffee shop, and they're the ones that are surrounding this. So if there's a distressed look on my face, it's because, yeah, we talk news, we talk analyzing politics, and we talk about what's happening. But at the same time, we're talking about people I know. You know, one of the worst days of my life covering news was when a deputy fire chief, took his own life. And we had covered suicides before. But a week earlier, I was in court with him. He was testifying in a trial, and I was covering that trial. And we sat on the bench and had a conversation. These are people that we know. These are people that we care about. In some cases, there are people that, that we've covered stories on that are sensitive, that are or we haven't covered because of sensitivities. So, yeah, if I look a little distressed right now when I hear the bomb squad's being called in, and it's near people that I know and care about and see on a regular basis. Oh, no, it's not. There's nothing. If it's important information, I'm giving it to you. I'm not keeping information from you, unless the person asked me to. I've had some things come in and people say, don't post this yet. But yeah, so that's the reason it's tough. This shit's not fun. Yeah, his name is Matthew. We know that. I've seen video with them calling out his name. His name is Matthew. I don't know his last name for sure. Others may know it, but I don't have that. Why don't they force him out with tear gas? I don't know the thought process behind that, unless there's a potential of someone else being in there. I don't know the answer to that, Mike. Yeah, the situation back in Christmas Eve. Who remembers the detail of that? I don't remember that. December 24th, 2015. Day-long standoff. It was a long standoff. Jeff Morgan was still with the department. He was our publication guy. Jesus Christ, New Haven Register is almost unreadable. There's more pop-ups I've ever seen in my life. Christmas Eve. Who remembers the detail of that? I don't remember that. Hey, Chris Velarde, Syracuse guy. Good to see you. You're experiencing firsthand the challenge faced by television news. Expect to be providing updated information. New information just isn't available. There are a few facts, plenty of speculation, lots of time to appreciate the. Yeah, it's just, part of this is we want to give you information. Part of it, sometimes a community just needs a place to gather and talk about it. And so if we can be that, we'll be that. And we want to make sure that the information that comes in is accurate. But Chris knows this firsthand. He's covered live events many, many times on WTNH, and we miss you, Chris. We really do. Voice of reason. Chris and I worked together on a few political debates. He moderated some of the Ted Kennedy debates, and I think also a first selectman debate. Did you do a Jamie Cosgrove debate? I think you did. Guys, listen, it's just, I'm only providing information as it comes in. If it's coming in from sources that I know and trust and I've established, I'll relay that to you. If it's sources otherwise, I need more confirmation before I can do that. It's just normal. At the same time, I give a damn about the safety of our police officers and firefighters, so I'm not looking to do anything that puts them in harm's way. Yeah, Chris was good. No question. And now he gets to wear his, instead of having, I think it was Tuesdays that were the orange Syracuse tie, he gets to wear the orange Syracuse tie pretty much every day. And that's pretty much his dream job. And I'm watching, whatever updates other people have, but there's nothing new. I mean, the next thing we're going to hear about this is, I mean, listen, our sources came through. We knew 2 hours before anybody else that somebody was shot. So I'm thankful for the sources we have, and we get those by being trustworthy. We don't put out information that isn't true. This is a teaser from News 8. Hear from a woman still trapped inside local laundromat after she says gunmen opened fire on shopping plaza. What are you going to get from that? I mean, Sandy Hook was hell. Okay, we may have to confirm this. Sandy Hook was, no, I wasn't there, but I was friends with the people to register at the time, and I'm responding to Chris Velarde, who did the debates, but also 4 hours of Sandy Hook. Remember the journalists who covered it, this is how they were covering it. They were covering it unseen for a week or two afterwards. So not only did they cover the most horrific event outside of 9/11 we've ever covered, and even almost not worse from a death standpoint, but from the children aspect of it. But then they had to go to all of the funerals and go to the houses and talk to the, holy God, I don't know. Yeah, I could see the FedEx. Yeah. Yeah. And that was, for me, I was not live at the time. I mean, we didn't do any of this, and that would have been hell for me. But 4 hours of that. And at that, it's funny, you don't become a news site at that point. You just become a place to hear kind of a calming voice, and if information comes, great, but if not, it's just a thing to hear about it. Sometimes people just want to talk about it or hear about it, and it helps. But I felt for the time, the Register reporter's name was Jennifer Swift, a young lady. I think she's not in news now, but she worked for the Register. I think she's going to law school. But I remember messaging her, and it was just so draining. There's no way to cover that day in and day out. And 4 hours of trying to, you just want to kind of scream. I can't imagine. And then the argument that really got me was when the discussion about the pictures took place about Sandy Hook. All right, so because there was a discussion about, the gun rights people, or the people who were against gun, who wanted more gun laws, wanted the pictures released. There were parents who did not want the pictures released. From a gun standpoint, and I think Michael Moore made this point, was that if you wanted gun laws, those pictures would have been the most damning pictures ever. But can any of us ever get past seeing piles of children, is that something we could have ever gotten past? And I remember the discussion legislatively after that was, should first responders get either paid or time off or benefits when they deal with issues like that? There was an incident in Brantford a few years earlier, or later, I don't remember when it happened, where a grandfather dropped a young baby off while riding a tractor, and the worst possible thing that can happen happened. And that also raised that question. If you're a first responder and you're seeing these things, we can make the argument that it's part of your job description, but could any human handle seeing that? Ever? I don't know the answer to that. And nothing that we're seeing here is on that level so far, but it was just crazy. And yeah, it's hard. I mean, I don't know. No, we don't. And it's the funny thing is, when you sign up to be a police officer or a firefighter and respond to these things, there are some things I don't think the human mind can ever combat or come back from. There are some things that you can see that you will never, no matter how trained you are, no matter how many psychologists or psychiatrists you talk to, will never be able to unsee what you saw. You'll never be able to fully come to grips with it. If there are pictures, and there are, of dead bodies of 6 and 7 and 8-year-old children, how do you unsee that? How do you unsee being the first responder on a scene who a baby in a tractor? How do you unsee, which was one of my worst days, when the deputy fire chief, who they had worked with, who was a mentor for them, took his own life from a train? How do you unsee? You can't undo that. And so that question on should it be covered, and I think ultimately it was, but time off due to those types of incidents, there's simply no way in any job description that can be considered normal. You just can't do it. And I know some people go through their entire career and never come close to those types of incidents, but in Sandy Hook and in some of these cases in Brantford, there's been some awful ones. I got to leave PTSD for first responders to have been at Sandy Hook. Let's be honest, mental health is not taken seriously enough for anyone, let alone first responders and healthcare workers. Yes, it's our job. There's a such thing as moral trauma. Can't imagine being a first responder. They will not get paid enough for what they deal with. I delivered to the school. This is the FedEx driver, and to families that lost children. Was there every day before, during, and after. I will never forget the emotions of dealing with the survivors. No words. Yeah, that's how I felt talking to Jennifer at the time. I remember she had to go, and not just to these ceremonies and standing outside with them. There's only so much you can take. And she was young. She was like 23 or something like that. I'm waiting on confirmation on something. Excuse me just for a second here, guys. 12:05, or I guess 12:07, they're saying the first incident started, so 5 hours and 18 minutes. All right, I'm just waiting for, well, you have to hesitate to tear gas anybody out if you don't know who else may be in there. Yeah, I'm hearing the exact same thing from multiple sources now, but I have not heard it from a source that's directly involved. This may be over. I now have 3 people telling me that I don't have any of my we're hearing that this is over and he may have taken his own life. I believe the police know who it is. Just responding to some of these questions. I need to get final confirmation about this. I don't want to. Yeah, Michael, we actually talked about that earlier. That was here in Brantford as well. Yeah, we're just getting. I'm not able to confirm what's coming in. We don't know a motive yet. We do not know if he's. It is amazing that it's been over 5 hours. I don't want to go off because I may get an update, but Listen, if it helps to have a place, I mean, I generally get information pretty quickly. So as soon as yes, it's an apartment above the hair salon. Person's in there starting around 12 o'clock this afternoon, started shooting. We did hear, to give an update to those that are just joining us, one person was shot, not killed. It was not a life-threatening situation, was transported to the hospital, but was shot. That's all we know for now. We don't have any indication that anyone else was. We received a press release from the town of Brantford at do you ever have that? I need Chris Velarde here with me right now because you ever have a source that was a good source, but not the, I don't know for sure. These are judgment calls that are made all the time. Something tells me this came to an end. But the press release from the town came in at, let me check the time on this. Well, first of all, to those who donated, thank you so much. So you have a couple issues with this type of circumstance. And, well, hold on. The person was not an officer. The person was a pedestrian. Channel 8 wouldn't know this. It was a civilian. He was involved with a liquor store across the street. So the email came at 4:23. So as of 4:23, we know no one else has been shot or injured. So there is some, who sets this up? I don't think this is even needed. Yeah, so the issue here is threatening to blow up the place he's barricaded in. You have to remember that no matter what the case is, whether he's alive or not, we don't know. But you still have to worry about, potential explosions, no matter the case. So, I know the last. Yeah, we're just waiting for information here. The last time we heard of shots fired was at 4:47 p.m. Did Fox News has it? Let's see.
Watches or little minor repairs, but it actually shot the day down.
And back out here live, it appears some businesses on the street have closed as a result.
No shit.
We're working to find out if police plan on on reopening up the roads anytime soon. And once I get that information, I'll be sure to pass it along to the newsroom. For now, I'm live in Brantford. Carmen Shaw, Fox 61 News.
Carmen, thank you. That situation in Brantford has been developing all day.
Yeah, you can follow us on the free Fox 61 News app or online at fox61.com for more information as we get it. And of course, we will also update you on the news at 10 and 11.
On to Weather Watch now.
Lots of bullets was his plan. We don't know the answer to that. You know, somebody is holed up with that many bullets. Yeah, there's nothing helpful from Fox. I'm waiting. That was Fox 61. There's nothing to report. I mean, they're in the same issue we're in. You know, we would love to be able to give you information and let this be done, but it's not done. And we have to, yeah, he's been shooting for quite some time. The last shots fired we heard was 4:47. The last reports I got, and we have many of them, of shots fired was 4:47. But all right, I'm going to stay on just because but we don't have anything earth-shattering to report. And so I think we know that the police were calling for somebody named Matt or Matthew. It was just one person who was shot. Yeah. Many shots were fired, but one person was hit. Yeah, we had, I can play audio. I'm not going to share video because it shows, I guess, police locations, but okay, I'm just seeing some of these emails. I've been watching from right across the street all day. I live on Cherry Street across from said parking lot. Wow, okay. We're back here with our drones. Someone evacuating folks from a laundromat hours ago through the back and walked them through an opening out to Lincoln. Okay. Brantford Fire Department has a drone on the air. Okay. Thank you so much for that email. I appreciate that. All right, it's going to be some interesting information that likely comes out. Won't be able to confirm today, but you know what the story is, and he may have had a troubled past or what have you. But we're not going to do too much speculating or any speculating on that now. He's threatening to blow up. I'm just reading some of these comments. Okay, I don't have any confirmation of that. I don't have. we're hearing a lot of stuff, and there were hundreds of rounds. There's no question about that. So let's just go through. Yeah. Listen, I'm not someone who cares about being first to report this stuff, and if it's not, I'm going to hold off. Yeah, I know WTNH did report that they said something about a bomb threat. The Big White Plaza probably isn't closed because the information that came from Town Hall was Short Beach Road on towards the exit ramp was what's closed. So I'm guessing the plaza's open. Yeah, if you have something you want to say that you don't want to, share publicly, please just send me a message privately. Yeah, the plaza has to be open. The press release we got from Town Hall was that from Short Beach Road over, so the plaza is likely open. And we have, you have sources of different levels. Some are directly on the scene. Some are friends of friends, friends of relatives, that kind of stuff. The audio I was going to play. I'm sorry about that. This was sent in from a reader.
Show yourself, Matthew. I need you to make contact with us.
Let's start from the beginning.
I need you to show yourself, Matthew. I need you to make contact with us. Come out with your hands up, or use your cell phone, call 911. I need you to make contact with us. This is the police.
All right, so we know the police were calling his name Matthew. Tyler, are you a friend of this person, or do you know him personally? If you are, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're going through this. I know that somebody just asked about some of the camps, and I know the Parks and Rec got all their kids inside and got picked up by parents very quickly. All right, so that we don't know yet on. Okay, stop, guys. Yes, the Alex, I spoke to him. He did a really good job of getting the kids to safety pretty quickly. Listen, you may know something, but I can't, we get tips all the time, and we get information all the time. And, I have a responsibility to make sure we have, before we say something definitively, to make sure it's accurate. So we appreciate all the tips, and it doesn't mean you have to be 100% correct. If you send us a tip, we'll research it. I'll research it. I'll look at it. In a circumstance like this, we don't gain anything by being the first person to report something. Like, it's okay if we're the third. I don't give a damn. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure it's right, and we want to make sure everybody's safe. It seems, Tracy Vick was her very, very good things. I actually saw Alex a little bit later, and he told me that it went very well. Brantford did have an alert system. A lot of calls went out. Jalapeno Heaven was open. Okay. Did anybody have the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? What are you thinking right now? What is going on? To those that are just joining us that may not have been watching, this afternoon there was an active shooter situation in Brantford. The person is on the second floor of a home over a salon and shot what seemed like a ridiculous number of rounds for the last, on and off for the last 4 or 5 hours now. One person was hit. That person was not fatally wounded, though, and they were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. According to a press release from the town, that's it. Nobody else was hit, and that was as of about an hour ago. We don't know what's happening now. The police are there. The bomb squad was called in. WTNH is reporting that there was a bomb threat. I do not have confirmation of that, but they're reporting that. And that's where we stand now. Do you know how to sign up for emergency alerts here in Brantford? Yeah, I do. There's a link to it. So it's actually called CT Alert. So if you want to subscribe on the website, which is brantford.ct.gov, let me see if I can post this. It's called Be Alert. And it says there's 2 ways to so I'm going to post this link. That's the link. I would just put it down there. It may have been, I did not get a notification either, so it may have just been people in the general area. I'm not sure what they chose. When there's a circumstance like this, it is an emergency response. Usually that decision is made by the police officer who's running it for the most part. And I'll be honest with you, if it was me, I probably would have sent it to everybody just to stay away. It's a popular area, but that was a decision that was made by, I know the first selectman happens to be away. Not that he's not in contact with them, but I know he happens to be away. If you're a mile away, you probably weren't going to get it. I did not get it, and I am by Foot Park. This is not that far. I was alerted behind Richlands. Okay, so that makes sense. The people in the immediate area. And that's the link, and you can find the information there. And suddenly we have nothing coming in. So, you guys, you decide. Should we stay on live and keep this forum open, or do we come back later, or what are your thoughts? Okay, a quick recap. So, we will, at just after 12 o'clock today, a reports of shots being fired near Richland. And I know people are just joining us after work, what have you, but there were shots of shots being fired near Richland. The It turned out it was somebody on the second floor of a building over a hair salon. The hair salon looks to be like it was closed that day, so there doesn't seem to be anybody below. But the person was firing and then firing at the Richlands parking lot plaza. Brantford police went there. Police from local towns went there. SWAT teams ended up there later. State police. My phone kind of blew up all at once with a million notifications. There's a million cops all over town. I happened to be in the center of town at G Cafe. Police cars were going by. I'm not kidding. 80 miles an hour in the center of town. One person was shot. He was a pedestrian. He was not a police officer. He was not a firefighter. There were plenty of rumors that the police were shot. I got many of them. That's not true. We did get a press release from town that confirmed that about 2 hours later. And so that's where we stand now. And so the police are there. All these people are there. We do have a report that the bomb squad was called in. A report from WTNH, not from me. I have not confirmed that a bomb threat was made. We don't know that. We just heard audio that was sent in from a viewer that showed how. Hold on. Okay. Nothing earth-shattering right now. There are drones being used. The Brantford, this police, or I think the fire department is using a drone, and they're flying, trying to get an indication of what's going on inside. Oh yeah, dinner. I'm supposed to meet somebody for dinner at 7. That may not happen, but I forgot about that. No, I haven't tried to look up his social media stuff. I mean, listen, let's let the police deal with what they got now. See no updates from. It is so frustrating. I mean, if it's anything to do with Brantford, we usually have information so quickly, in that this is not the Brantford police running this. And yeah, Christine Cohen is reporting. I don't know. Whatever. Sound reporting, but it's nothing new. Yeah, you're getting a lot of. Jesus Christ. Okay. Does anybody out there see the house? Who's across the street? Somebody was across the street. This might be interesting. I know drones are there, and I think they have to find out what's going on inside the house. You might get a situation where a drone is going in a window, if possible. Now, I don't know if the news stations will show this live, and they likely shouldn't. And I'm not live on the scene. Wait till it comes on. You know, that's a good point. I'm going to reach out to her. Well, Patty, feel free to send me a message. Yeah, you can send it to me, and if it's something I can confirm, so be it. I know there are drones being used. I think the thought process is there might be a drone. Well, I don't want to go further than that. Yeah, there's no winners in this situation. Now, the person likely has significant issues. The family, if he has issues, has likely dealt with these issues for a long time. There's no winners here. There's no. We are just grateful that, and I feel awful for the person who was shot clearly, but that he wasn't shot and killed is a good outcome compared to what could have happened. So he's still there. I gotta tell you something. When this thing is over, these people running the scene, the police, they know what they're doing. They are as patient, as much as we just had an awful accident with a police officer the other day, and we've had some police get bad information or bad incidents, and certainly a bad actor in Minnesota, obvious murder, but these cops are good, and you're dealing with someone who there's some issues with, clearly some issues. And if you have threats of potential explosives, someone who was willing to shoot as often as this guy did, that they haven't stormed him, it tells you that there is some serious issues. And there's other potential danger that still exists. So this is far from over. And I just literally the words from like 3 different people at the same time where this is not over. And that's certainly true, Dave. News 8.
At least one person was hit today.
We have team coverage tonight for you. News 8's Shane Ferrer and Sabina Carriacos in that area of Main Street and Cherry Hill Road right now.
Sabina, you've been there most of the day in the situation. Tell us how this unfolded.
It all started around noon today when neighbors and Darren described hearing round after round of gunfire. I'm going to step out of the shot here right now. We're going to show you the scene. We're going to keep the shot very, very wide. We do not want to give away police tactical positions here, but you can see what I want to show you is that this remains an extremely active scene with police bringing in new equipment on the hour. They're still working, it appears, to negotiate with the gunman who still remains barricaded inside of a hair salon on Main Street. Eyewitnesses describe bullets raining down on businesses at about noon today. The gunman opening fire, we're told, from the second floor of that hair salon. Witnesses say he fired round after round towards the Richlands shopping plaza, where people started running and customers took cover inside stores and businesses. One woman inside a laundromat has been there since noon today. They are still taking cover, not allowed to leave just yet. She's huddled in the back with about half a dozen other customers. She describes also seeing the gunman fire.
When we were in the laundromat, you could see him shooting from the side of the house, the side window upstairs, and you could see the smoke every time he shot.
There was a lot of shooting. It was going on for a while. After I realized it was bullets, yeah, I kind of got away from the windows and, tried to stay away from the doors and stuff.
Horrifying scenes that those residents and business customers describe. The homes here along the road where we are remain evacuated, or some of those folks still in there but told to shelter in place. Again, still an active scene. We're told that police continue to negotiate with the man who's barricaded inside. We heard them call him Matt, by the name Matt, when they were attempting to negotiate with him. We know Bomb Squad is on the scene as well. You can see this remains very, very active. Again, one person hit by that gunfire. That person is expected to survive. We're not sure if that was a customer at the shopping plaza or what the relationship between that victim and the violence might have been. And this is a very developing story. And we're going to head over to Shayna Ferreira, who's on the opposite side of this scene. For now, we're live in Brantford. Sabina Kariakos, News 8.
All right, Sabina, thank you. Let's do that. Our team coverage continues. News 8, Shayna Ferreira on the other side of that scene happening now. Shayna, what do you see from where you are?
Darren, I'm on Main and Kirkham Street. I'm about a half mile or so away from our colleague Sabina and where she's situated, but I can tell you that this response effort extends for blocks, multiple assisting agencies on top of not only state police and Brantford police. We see Madison police here, Guildford, East Haven, all assisting in this investigation, blocking off blocks of roads here. And even with such a distance between where Sabina and I are situated, I spoke with a number of people on this side of the road who say they were able to hear those gunshots ring out and they knew right away that they needed to shelter in place. Owner Charles Steinberg of Brantford Jeweler says his shop locked down moments after realizing they were near an active shooter situation.
We heard the popping, we heard some banging, and then just locked everything down. And that was it. That was the end of our day. My hope is just that everybody can get together and stop the violence, the shooting. Everybody can get along with each other. Just keep peace. That's all you can do.
So again, two very active situations in terms of where we are located. But again, you want to avoid this area. We're told by our colleagues, Sabina, that SWAT is on the scene, of course, working towards a peaceful resolution. But we want to let our viewers know if you are traveling in the Brantford area, you want to avoid exit 53 off 95 going north, because that is blocked off, as well as multiple roads that lead to 146. They're also blocked off. So it's a very difficult traffic situation. So we want to warn you of that if you do plan on traveling in the area. We're live in Brantford. Shayna Ferreira, News 8.
Some vaccine clinics are on hold after the state decided to pause the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine.
Yeah, that decision comes after a federal government recommendation as they investigate some very rare cases of potentially dangerous blood clots. None of those clots have been reported here in Connecticut.
Out of nearly 7 million doses of the J&J shot, only 6 cases have cropped up throughout the United States. The FDA expects the pause will only last a couple of days. The CDC Advisory Committee plans to meet Wednesday on the issue.
Okay, so nothing. I don't know why they said 2 active situations. That makes no sense to me. Yeah, listen. I mean, we can do all the looking back later. At this point, the only thing that really matters is ending this situation and doing so in a way that keeps our police and firemen safe. It's just, It's amazing this has lasted this long. We are getting updates. I cannot. No, that's why we don't. There's a lot of things we don't say. Listen, if you're watching this, Matt, tell me what it takes to help. You know, this is not, yeah, it's bad, but he hasn't gone too far. You know, if no one is dead at this point, no lives have been taken, come on out. Whatever the issue is, no matter how much pain you're going through, we'll figure it out. If you want me to stand there with you, I'll help you. But there's really not much left to say here. You know, we're getting updates, but they're kind of mixed, and we want to let the police and fire and those on scene get their job done. And you know, the fact that they have been doing this for now is going on. It's 6:07. It is 6 hours. They've been doing this. Speaks to the patience that and the skill these people have. I am. Oh. 6 hours they've been doing this. And if the result of this, aside from the person, we don't know how that's going to end, but is only one person was injured, I feel bad for that person, certainly. But I am absolutely amazed at the amount of bullets that could have been fired, that were fired, did not cause far, far more damage. But to see the police for 6 hours go about this, to stand in the line of fire for 6 hours, I have a hard time when people are yelling and screaming about defunding the police, or, you know, that they're evil or racist or whatever. They're bad actors, but it gets hard to cover stories like this and watch people demonize the police. We watched during a rally, you know, last year, kids walk down the street as police offered protection with "fuck the police" signs, and seeing them go through this for 6 hours. It's 6:07. I guess it started 6 hours doing this. I'm sorry, I wasn't seeing some of these comments. You know what it is? When I see 6 hours, then there is something political. And you can make a point, and you can have Black Lives Matter, I agree with. Then you can make your point. And there's certainly been awful circumstances, and there's bad cops. But, you know, there has to be a way that you can make your point without calling for defunding the police. And actually, this very much is about that. I read letter on the air that came about defunding the police in Brantford. This isn't a national thing. This wasn't in Minnesota. There were letters written to the first selectman of Brantford and to the RTM, the legislature of Brantford, about taking money from the police department. Those are real letters that were sent in. And when I see them sitting there and standing there and taking bullets for 6 hours, and by the way, not storming the castle here, showing an unbelievable level of patience. I know exactly what defund the police means. I've read it. I've studied it. I've talked to many people that are involved with it. I read the letters that went to the town. Let's not pretend if you take money and fund mental health from one department, it goes to another. It leaves one, period. It just does. Everybody yelled and screamed that the police department have military-grade equipment. Yeah, I could kind of understand why. When somebody's in a second-floor apartment shooting hundreds of rounds at them, I could kind of understand why. You have to be able to make your point without demonizing an entire profession that keeps us safe. If you have a valid point to make, you can make it. I believe racism exists. I believe there are bad cops, but make your point without demonizing everybody who wears blue. Period. If you cannot make your point without demonizing everyone who wears blue, then your point's not valid. Find a way to make it right. How is everybody? It's been a rough day for everybody in town. What's amazing is that tomorrow, when this is over, the people who stood there and took those bullets today, hundreds of rounds, are going to get up, they're going to get dressed, they're going to get breakfast at Hornet's Nest, going to go about their lives and go to work again. This is Emily. Here, Emily's comment. This is disturbing that you would use a time like this to argue that inherent change doesn't need to happen to all police departments across America. You know what? Then go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. What do you want? Jesus Christ. We live in a world where everybody has to take a side. It's left or right, it's Republican or Democrat. And the fact of the matter is, everything is far more nuanced than that. Everything is far more, we need smarter people, not people who pick a side. If you don't understand that the issue is far more complicated than just left or right, or do this or do that, then you really shouldn't be part of the discussion that gets to the solution. Period. And then people want to take my words out of context. I'm not denying that racism is a problem. I'm not denying that there are some bad cops. They exist. But when you sat for the last 6 hours and watched them, I have nothing but respect for them right now. Nothing but respect for them. Issues are not left black and white. Politicians want to make them black or white. We need this stimulus package because people are starving. Yeah, but there's a bunch of stuff in there that doesn't have to be in there. You know, we need the right to have any gun we want. Yeah, but there's no need to have that gun. Everything is more nuanced than yes or no, black or white, Democrat or Republican. Everything is more nuanced than that. And we live in this world where we must change every police department. Get the fuck out of here. Six hours. Dory, we were fine when it happened. Had a hard time getting home. Streets were blocked, but we were safe. Wait, Dory? Christine, I agree. Police need to be funded, committed, and reformed. You know, a police bill passed, and people asked me, and I supported. There were things in the police bill in Connecticut I didn't support, but in general, I supported the bill, realizing something was going to pass. And many of the police officers I even talked to, you know, what we knew in Branford was we were doing all of those things already. And we had Robin Comey, the state rep, on, and we were talking about it. And one of the things, you know, she voted for it. And one of the point she wanted to make, which I think is a valid point, but you know, the reps in Branford weren't voting to change Branford's police department because Branford was ahead of that game. They were voting on a state level to change other departments that weren't part of that game. There are departments that are doing the right things. And when I see them taking in this position for 6 hours, the first people on this scene, there are pictures of the only police on the scene as bullets are fired are Branford police officers. Branford police officers. And forgive me, but they're people I know. They're people I see every morning. They're people I have breakfast with. They're people I talk to on a regular basis. So forgive me if I don't have right now a moment of I will defend them. I will take their side. I have at length had podcasts demonizing the officer who killed a man in Minneapolis. At length. Because issues have to be taken on their own merits. Right now, I have nothing but respect for especially our Branford officers, our state department, our local towns that have come in and helped manage the situation. Ashley, who are you going to call when you're being robbed on the side of the road and they run away with the purse? The cops until they're killing black people. You forget about that when you need your purse back for your protection. Listen, there's no reason any officer should be killing any black person or white person or any person. Just shouldn't happen, you know, but awful things happen. I think we look at it as they're killing people they shouldn't be killing. I mean, if you have an accident, you had an accident the other day. Clearly an accident. She resigned already. I don't know how you resolve that. You had a murder, clearly, with the Chauvin case, and it's being tried now. By any stretch of the imagination, you had a bad actor. You had a murder. There are other cops that do that as well. That needs to be fixed. And in my experience, the people who want to fix that the most are good cops. I've talked to them. And we had an issue here in Branford. There was a cop, a guy who was working, I don't know, part-time or what have you, but in some level as a police officer, in some level as an authority figure, who had posted, I would say, offensive and homophobic things on social media. There were reports of other things, and I won't mention those now, but that were horrifically inappropriate. And the police got rid of him. Because the good cops are the ones that are really good at getting rid of the bad ones. What we need to make sure is the good cops know they could speak up. Nobody wants a better police department than the police. Also, if my high school English, yeah, that's true. Our iPhones. I feel like a town, we should really show our support for officers after this, politics aside. I agree. Doesn't mean we can't work for change. We have to understand that they're the ones putting their lives on the line all the time. This guy was in a window shooting all over town. I mean, come on. Only police, firefighters, and soldiers run into danger. One doesn't have to be true while the other's false. We can get things better. We don't have an update I can give yet. Yeah, and if we're off topic, maybe that's my point. When we hit that 6:07 mark and I realized it was 6 hours. Yeah, we talk about other viewpoints. It's just understanding that there is no black and white, that the answer is never black and white. There's always other things that play a role here. And we can have respect for both views, and both views can be valid. It's just a matter of to what degree. We talk about funding for things. It's not about should we fund mental health or should we not. It's to what degree. We talk about risks. There's risks in, having a gun laws. Is there a risk in having, automatic weapons, semi-automatic weapons? Does the benefit to society offset the risk? Does the risk offset the benefit to society? Driving is a risk. Having police or people with guns, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be accidents. There's also going to be bad actors who do things deliberately. We do have to stop those. No question about it. At the same time, we can have a lot of respect for what these people do on a regular basis for us. That's a good comment, Dawn. And it goes both ways. Supporting the police does not mean being against Black Lives Matter, or does not mean we want to kill Black people. Also, calling out the issue doesn't mean we don't support the we're waiting for some confirmations here. Yes, there are officers from all over the place here. There's no update yet. I know people are asking for updates. There's no update yet. We need some confirmation on a couple things before we get there. You're hearing from a few sources that some of the police that had been kind of barricaded in their cars are coming out. So that means less likely to get shot. It may not mean that there's no risk on the building itself. Here's a question for you. If you work at that hair salon, you want to go to work tomorrow? Yeah, no matter what the case is, if WTNH reported a bomb threat was, no matter what the case is, they have to make sure that's done first. So there's no like storming the castle here. They have to. We are hearing that the police are coming out of their cars, and that might be indicative of that the threat of a shot might be over. Now, what goes through someone's mind that they do this? What is the issue that you go through in life? Is it just mental illness? Is it an issue in your life that you do take these steps? Would you return to work? I don't for sure, Kenneth. I'm sorry. If you return to work with a bomb threat in the building, that's the question. Yeah, multiple reports of cops coming out of their cars, and that tells us that there's likely no chance of being shot. You can deduct from that what you will. But no matter what the case is, since there was a bomb threat, they're going to have to make sure that's taken care of as well. So this will take some time. Those that have lasted this long, thanks for joining us. If it was your first podcast, this is now the longest. You know what? I don't know if it's the longest. I think that day that our longest was probably the day that the boy died. We were on for a long time that day, and we also did a live of that service. So this is going on 2.5 hours. Who's Ben? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I just, my mind went blank. I'm sorry about that. Yes. Thank you, Kristen. So we're hearing the cops are out of their cars. We're getting reports that this is just about over. There is a 99.9% chance this young man has passed away. We have to wait on the bomb squad to kind of make sure there's no other issues. This very likely has the ending that most of us could have predicted. Just waiting on some more details. The party is grateful that there are no victims beyond what seems to be the shooter. No, the police are out of their cars. They're walking around. We're hearing reports that they're wrapping up. And so the threat of being shot or being shot at is gone. So, you know, the best case scenario is somebody's taken out alive. That is but that doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah, his name was called out multiple times by police officers. So, so there's been multiple, reports for who he is. I think the name mentioned, I think he was 31 years old. We just, when it comes to reporting information, we want to make sure all our officers are safe. If there's no risk to anybody first. Kind of got to watch in real time as information came in, and we hold off on saying some things, and we do this on a regular basis. I mean, Gene, we're going to find that out probably in the next day or two. I think there's been reports that there were some potential complaints about the person in the past. May have been some indications that, somebody may be capable of things. The police get so many alerts, and you never know, what can happen, what not. They research it, but you never know for sure. It could have been just his address. He could live there, and there could have been complaints from neighbors or other issues ahead of time. We'll know that in the next couple of days. It's funny, that incident in Christmas Eve a few years back, the police were responding to a complaint or to a potential issue. Well, it's always a sad ending if anybody, if somebody was in a mental state and the issue ended with him losing his life, that's always sad. We're grateful there's somebody who is injured now, who's in the hospital, who we certainly hope for the best there. The indications are that the police officers seem to be behaving as if it's over or close to over. They're coming out of whatever the hiding spot they were in, whatever secure spot they were in. Just really want to make sure that everybody is. Yeah, we know the police are letting some units go. Multiple eyewitness reports on the scene. It appears the standoff situation is over, at least. I'll agree with what you just said, Dave. I don't know how this many shots were fired. I mean, and every indication is hundreds, and there are not far more. I mean, just even if they were completely random, how this is not a empty area. This was, it's going to be interesting to see in the next few days as the investigation unfolds, what happened, what the motivation was, what was happening. It's truly spectacular to think that there is not a much, much higher body count here. And I know when I first heard it, you had somebody from an elevated position shooting at a parking lot. And I don't know. That's just holy God. How are there not far more people not with us right now? It's amazing that that's the case. And so it'll be interesting to find out the mental state of this person. What brought this on? We certainly, want to think about the one person who was shot, although the indication was that it was not life-threatening. Our police who responded and was, I do not believe he's in custody. I am not saying that he's deceased. What's happening is the police are backing down. Many are leaving, been sent away, which means that the shootout is over. recap is around 12 o'clock this afternoon. Shooting from a second floor window took place. Appears to be a gentleman who was above a salon. Fired many rounds, struck a person who was hit, non-life-threatening injuries. He was somebody who worked or owned the liquor store not far. Police responded, SWAT teams responded, police from other towns responded. We had what seemed to be over 6 hours, or at least 5.5 hours of witnessed gunshots being fired. And then they suddenly stopped. And now we've been waiting for kind of confirmation. The police are being let go. Many cops are leaving. And that is indicative of, well, whatever conclusion you want to come to. Other than that, we are waiting to make sure all our police officers are safe. There was a reported bomb threat. I did not report that. Didn't come from me. That came from WTNH. So that's on them. But they reported that there was a bomb threat. The bomb squad was called. They were on the scene. Probably change of shift. Is that a serious? I hope that's a joke, Rita. If the police were hiding behind their cars and in position for all that time, and they suddenly stopped, it was not a change of shift. The bomb scare adds a dimension to this that is a little bit different. Like, you have to make sure. Yeah, the bomb was not confirmed. There was a threat of it, and the bomb squad was there. I don't know if that was a legitimate question. I apologize. It was just so on the change of shift. If that was, I'm sorry, but it was just like the idea that they would have a change of shift. I didn't mean. I don't know. That's just, it's been 6 hours or something here. So just an odd question. Stephanie, they just paused the situation, clock out. This is like when when Washington and the Germans decided to stop fighting over Washington and the Germans stopped fighting for Christmas. You know, the shooters, the cops, and the guys like, all right, let's hold off for 10 minutes, shift change. Was the Germans? Who was fighting on the? Who were the soldiers on the other side? Washington. What's the famous painting? Not Germans. Was it Germans? Somebody correct me here. Yeah, listen, you know, this was brought to my attention too. Part of the new budget in Brantford is a mental health officer. And First World War, okay, yeah, whatever it was. Thank you, Justin. I don't know why I'm just trying to. I had a picture of, Washington over the Delaware, right? I don't remember, but in any event, somebody took off for Christmas. Definitely not German. Yeah, okay, I was wrong. The Hessians, that could be okay. I don't know. In any event, somebody gets the point. Listen, it's been a long time. It's been a lot of hours here. Yeah, we can pretty much confirm, we can confirm that he's not alive. I've read so many, historical books, and these are usually things that I know, but I actually, for the first time, like 2 days ago, went and bought a novel. I haven't read a novel in maybe 8 or 9 years. It's the most recent Grisham. Grisham has a novel out. The main character from A Time to Kill was Jake Brigance, which is one of the best books. I read that as a young boy, and I loved it. It was just one of my favorite books. And yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. No kidding. I drew a blank. I'm never going to live that down that I said Washington, right? The Washington and the Germans, because I'm sure, yes, Revolutionary War and World War I. Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't read a novel. I read like presidential biographies, which is pretty much my favorite thing, or business books. And yes, Christmas Truce. But the next book by Grisham, the main character is Jake Brigance, the same lawyer who was played by Matthew McConaughey in the movie in A Time to Kill. The final chapter of A Time to Kill is spectacular. Although they German American, was I right? I don't know. Washington's a wrong war, as I was reminded by a friend of mine 10 seconds ago. Anyway, I think she was very happy to remind me that I was wrong. In any event, so the new book is, hold on a second. That's it. The Time for Mercy. It is Jake Brigance returns to John Grisham's Greatest Courtroom. So I had to buy this the other day. The other day I went to Barnes & Noble, and I went to Barnes & Noble in North Haven thinking that I was going to go to Barnes & Noble and get Chipotle, and I was unable to get Chipotle because I forgot that Chipotle was closed on Sundays, so that sucked, but I bought that book instead. So at some point, I'll read that book instead of doing, I don't know, something else. All right, Justin, thank you. Please telling residents it's safe to go back into houses. We can say that this person is deceased. So it's kind of just a tough. It's just good that nobody else was killed. And that is, when this started at 12 o'clock and there were just reports of people shooting and the calls that came in, it was like, holy God, don't let this be this kind of day. Don't let this be, 20 people dead. And that didn't happen. I think you're going to have a tragic, if mental illness was involved, we don't know for sure, but it's awful to see, but it could have been so much worse. And thank you to our police and our first responders who took care of this. The street's likely going to be, if they're telling people they can go home, and someone just commented that, that's good. The street's likely going to be closed for a while. There's going to be investigations going on for a while. But I got to tell you something. Unless it was not the person's goal to hit people, I don't know how you shoot as often as he was shooting and not hit more people. I don't know. That's just spectacular to me. And I'm just kind of fascinated by that. And, we hope that, I don't know, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm kind of like out of it. Okay. Here's what we'll do. It's 6:56. We've been on for 3 hours. I hope being on helped. If having a voice to talk to, being able to talk to your neighbors on this helped you, if it helped getting the information that we could just talk through this, I hope that helped. Otherwise, I'm not going to stay on. I think we'll take it off. If I get updates, I will post those on our Facebook page. To those of you that are new, thank you for joining. I'm usually on 4 o'clock to about 4:30, 4:45, talking about things that are not necessarily this, politics or news or conversations. We will, conversations about defunding the police and Black Lives Matter and things of that nature. We will certainly talk about in more detail, and we'll try to get more detail on this as I talk to some sources in the town. But I want to thank you for joining me. It means a lot that you've come on, that you've been part of this conversation. And I hope that we can continue this when it's not such a stressful situation. Come on, ask questions, send emails. And I want to thank you for joining me. That being said, it's been 3 hours. For all of us, it's been about 7 hours of stress. And so I hope everybody gets some rest. I hope everybody gets a chance to take a deep breath. And I will be back tomorrow. Unless there's some spectacular news that we didn't have, I will be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and we'll follow up on what happened here, and also hopefully get back to some news that we can debate politics again, because that's what I love to do. Guys, thank you for joining me. If something changes, I'll post it. If there's an update to post, I'll post that as well. If there's a question or a tip or something you want to let me know, please just send me an email. You can do it through Branford7, or you're free to like me or follow me or friend request me on Facebook. My name is Steve Mazzacane. Other than that, guys, despite what happened today, take a deep breath, have a drink, put your feet up. Thankfully, most of what could have been a terrible situation is better, not great, but better than it could have been. And I hope you all have a really good night.